coming up on SportsNight.
Men's basketball looks to snap a losing streak in 2 home matchups.
Women's basketball continues its pursuit of its first conference win.
And wrestling takes on some tough competition.
Sammy, last week's pregame show was a ton of fun to put together. I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, Matt, Netflix isn't the only one getting into the live sports world. Get ready, Super Bowl coming up, Sports Night. What do you say?
Maybe someday, but for tonight, I think it's time we return to our regularly scheduled programming.
It's Sports Night right now. Hello and welcome into Sports Night. I'm Sammy Krimstein.
And I'm Matt Saperstein.
And Matt, let's begin with the biggest news of the week in Northwestern sports relating to one of Northwestern's biggest stars on the men's basketball team.
Yeah, Sammy, it's Brooks Barnhizer, and the news is not so good. Barnhizer had been playing through a lingering foot injury for weeks, and on Saturday, he was officially ruled out for the season.
Absolutely devastating news for the Cats. And head coach Chris Collins broke the bad news after Saturday's game against Wisconsin. Check out his emotional response right here.
The decision was made to shut it down, and so he's not going to be with us the rest of the year. It's the right decision, but he left it all out there. You know, and I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, but I love that kid.
Barnhizer has been huge for Northwestern on and off the court this season. And unless he successfully applies for a medical redshirt, his career as a Wildcat may be over. We had the chance to hear from some Northwestern fans about Brooks' legacy as a Wildcat.
Brooks is such a staple of our team. He's been here. He's so dedicated to our school.
I remember being there at the March Madness tournament in Brooklyn and seeing him dive over that table and all of us just being so worried if he was okay, and then him popping up and us all cheering, and he gives us all every time he steps on the court, and he's been an amazing player to watch.
I adore the man.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like he's just the heart and soul of this program.
Yeah, he's really been a cornerstone of the team, really the heart and soul.
Yeah, he's really the heart and soul of the team, so it's tough to see him go down like that.
Brooks is an icon, right? He's been here for 3 years. He's given us some great basketball. It's always sad to see a legend go, but, you know, we love you, Brooks.
Serving as one of the team's de facto leaders, Barnhizer was putting up over 17 points per game, leading the team in rebounds, assists, and steals. If he isn't able to return to Evanston as a Wildcat next season, Barnhizer does have NBA prospects, some projecting him to go early in the second round of the draft.
With Barnhizer out, the men's basketball team has a void to fill on both offense and defense. This past week, the Wildcats had their first 2 opportunities to show what the rest of this team can put together versus Wisconsin and USC at home. Upset alert, the Wildcats look to knock off number 17 Wisconsin at Welsh Ryan Arena. Jalen Leach getting things going for Northwestern early on in this one. He can't seem to find anything, but Nicholson comes up big with the screen, feeds Leach at the top of the key, and he cashes in for the Cats' first bucket of the day. Leach with the board going coast to coast. He pulls up from 3, but it is no good. He grabs his own rebound and feeds Ty Berry in the corner for 3. That's good. The Cats go up 8-0 as the Badgers call timeout. Now under 6 minutes left in the half, all tied up at 15. The Badgers trek up the court led by John Tonje. He dribbles right, pulls up from 3, and he drains it. Things starting to heat up for the number 17 Badgers. But soon after that, Northwestern would gain some momentum back. Leach from 3 again. Count it, Nick Martinelli is fired up, and the Cats head into the half up 6 on Wisconsin. After the break, Northwestern still holding on to their lead, looking to build on it. Leach in control, he'll drive left into the paint to the basket and power through his defender for a quick 2 to put the Cats up by 7. Leach led Northwestern on the day with 23 points. The Badgers now with a cross-court outlet pass to none other than Tonje, who misses, but Carter Gilmore is there to grab the rebound and put the ball back in. Wisconsin in control. And things didn't change much throughout the rest of the half. Leach sinks 2 free throws to cut the Badgers' lead to 4 with about 23 seconds left. Northwestern now down by 6, trying to make one final push, Leach with the ball, he can't get it to go, and the Badgers leave Evanston with the win, defeating the Wildcats 75-69, marking Northwestern's third straight Big Ten loss.
They're going to have their next opportunity to get a Big Ten win again a Tuesday night against USC, welcoming them to the Welsh Ryan Arena for their first trip to Evanston as a Big Ten team. The Trojans jump out to an early 5-0 lead, but Justin Mullins getting the Northwestern board, corner three. Later in the first half now, Barry, looking for options, finds Martinelli out beyond the arc, trying to drive to the basket. Nick trying to get the lane here, looking, still dribbling the basketball on the perimeter, crosses over, into the lane he goes, gets a really nice bucket and one. Tough stuff from Martinelli. And here's Big Matt with a dunk in the first half. Northwestern leads. Cats still lead by just 4, and they need to make something happen. Matt to Mullins, he shoots, and it's good. What a night for Mullins off the bench for Northwestern. They're pouring it on here, getting out to a big lead. Leach finding Barry, that won't go, but Keenan Fitzmaurice getting the board and getting it to go. Slam dunk, 48-37. Wildcats with 13 minutes to play. Cats in trouble. Again in the final minute, up 6. Trojan ball, Chibuzo Agbo for 3, and it's good. USC pulls within a possession. Tie game, final seconds for the Wildcats. Martinelli surveying the floor, pushing his way inside, double team, weaves into the paint, gets it up, gets it to fall. The dagger, putting Northwestern on ice for this game. The Wildcats up 77-75. That was the final score as the Cats get back in the win column with their 4th conference victory of the season. Next for Northwestern, a trip out west, facing their new conference foes, Washington on Saturday night and Oregon on Tuesday.
This season has not been easy for Coach Joe McEwen and the women's basketball team. The Wildcats' last win was on December 21st against Howard, and they are still searching for their first conference win. The Wildcats look to snap their 6-game losing streak against Iowa and number 16 Michigan State. Women's basketball traveled out to Iowa City to take on the 13-7 Hawkeyes, desperate for a win. Northwestern started out hot, flying to a 9-3 lead, after this triple from Kaylee Walsh. With seconds left in the first quarter, Aaliyah Guyton throws up a buzzer beater from beyond the arc to cut the Cats' lead to 3. Now on to the second quarter, Iowa's Lucy Olson dishes it to Hannah Stuelke, who puts up the contested bucket. Iowa takes the lead into the second. Now Iowa would manage a slim edge over Northwestern going into the half. Cats have a little bit of work to do heading into half number 2. Early in the third, Northwestern down by 1. Olson starts to drive, flips it out to Furbach, who gets it to go from deep. Iowa extends its lead to 4, and the Hawkeyes do not make it any easier for the Wildcats. Clean passing as Stuelke assists Guyton, who nails it from beyond the arc. Cats down 6 after the third. The fourth quarter was not looking much more promising. Iowa goes up 8 off of this jumper from Olson. Northwestern finds themselves down, but Caroline Lau starts digging the Cats out of a hole after this three-pointer with 40 seconds to go, and they were not done. The Cats start pressing on defense. They apply pressure on the double team. Caroline Lau scoops up the ball. Her shot is no good, but Taylor Williams gets it on the second try to narrow the deficit to 4. But it would not be enough for the Wildcats. The Hawkeyes close out on a couple of free throws to beat Northwestern 85-80. Iowa improves to 4-6 in the Big Ten, while the Cats fall to 0-8.
The Cats would head back home, still in search for their first Big Ten win, and would welcome number 16 Michigan State to Evanston. Early on in the first quarter, Caroline Lau feeds Kaylee Walsh in the corner. Her 3 bounces off the front of the rim, off the backboard, and into the hoop. Cats get the first points of the game. Walsh would stay hot, scoring 9 in the first quarter, including this bank shot here. The Cats lead by 5 at the end of the first. We'll jump midway point of the second quarter. Spartans down 2, but not for long. Emma Shoemate drills the three-pointer to put Michigan State back in front. Spartans looking to add on, but Kyla Jones says not today. She steals the pass from Aralt and takes it cross-court for the layup. Cats and Spartans all tied up at 40 at the half. Second half basketball now, Michigan State Spartans to take over. Some good ball movement, gets the ball to Nyla Hampton in the corner. Nothing but net to extend the lead for the Spartans to 7. And the Spartans, they don't stop here, opening up to a double-digit lead. Shoemate pulling up from deep right there, drilling it. The Cats, they're not going to go down without a fight. Casey Harder gets it back from Grace Sullivan and swishes a three. Harder had 11 points and was 3 for 3 from behind the arc, but Northwestern could not mount the comeback, falling 89-75. The loss marking Northwestern's 8th in a row and their 9th in Big Ten play. Still in search of their first Big Ten win, NU women's basketball is battling it out right now as we speak in Champaign, Illinois. You can tune into that on the Big Ten Network.
Coming up, we'll head to the mat to see how wrestling fared against two ranked opponents.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night. Sammy, we've got a big game coming up on Sunday with the Super Bowl. Another matchup between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Who you got?
Matt, I think it's going to be close. Got to go with Philly. Fly, Eagles, fly. How about you?
You know, I'm rooting for Philly as well, but I've got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs securing the three-peat, though I think the Eagles will put up a pretty good fight.
Should be a great one. Speaking of fights, let's head to the mat and check in on Northwestern wrestling. When it comes to the Big Ten in wrestling, finding wins are tough. 8 teams from the conference are currently ranked in the top 25, meaning that it's been a tough road for Northwestern, who still looks for their first win in the stacked conference. Northwestern Wrestling welcomed the number 8 Minnesota to the Welsh last Sunday in hopes of ending its 3-game losing streak. It'll be a tall task against one of the nation's best. We start deep in the third period of the 165-pound match as Northwestern's Max Mayfield looks to escape and get the pin. But Andrew Stark's grasp is too tight and the Cats trail early 4-0. Now in the heavyweight bout, the number 1 ranked Gable Stevison took no time at all to notch his first takedown against redshirt freshman Derek Moreland. With less than 30 seconds gone in the first, Stevison gets another takedown to add to his lead. Morley would not make it out of the first period with this final takedown, giving Stevison the 19-3 victory. It's not all doom and gloom though for the Cats, as Derek Navarro secures the only pin of the meet, giving Northwestern its first points of the day. After 6 matches, the Gophers lead 21-6. Contest all but over though here. The 149-pound match proved to be a tight affair. Northwestern's Sam Cartella opening the scoring with a quick takedown against Drew Roberts. Nearing the end of the third, coming up here, Cartella staving off Roberts' late comeback, holding on to secure the upset victory Despite Cartella's win, Northwestern loses the match 29-12.
Now Northwestern was taking on number 23 Indiana. Let's jump right to it. Top 20, 125-pound Jacob Moran made a statement by opening the meet with a technical foul, and the Henry Porter was clearly chomping at the bit to get at Chris Cannon. A major decision here that followed an Indiana decision between these two matches. Launched the Hoosiers out in front 12-0. Sam Cartella responds by straight up bullying Joey Butter to finish this takedown, a fitting start to a Wildcat comeback. Cartella wins 9-2. Trevor Chumbley continues to leave the 157 in shambles, improving to 4 wins in dual action, and at 165, Max Mayfield put Taylor Lillard on upset alert late in the second period. Lillard comes close to drawing even in this scramble, but the clock runs out, and folks, that's an upset. Mayfield gets personal retribution in rectifying his past loss to Lillard in the Midland Finals. Simply put, Indiana had to lock in after the 10-point swing, and Derek Gilcher did just that by logging a major decision win. Evan Bates survives Gabe Sollers at 197 for the decision. This one following a tech for Indiana, meaning the match was out of reach for Northwestern. Now, coming up to the end of the night here in the heavyweight division, it's Dirk Morley, and okay, that's just mean. Jacob Bullock, that takedown opened the floodgates as Bullock dominated this one to end the meet. Number 23 Indiana claims the victory. The Cats fall to 2-7, remaining winless in the Big Ten with the conference championships just around the corner. The Wildcats dropped to 2-6 overall and 0-5 in conference play. Next up for wrestling is a Friday night matchup against Michigan State at home, and after that, the team has 2 more conference matches before hosting the Big Ten championships in Evanston on March 8th and 9th.
It may still be icy on the streets of Evanston, but hints of spring are around the corner. Northwestern softball begins their season this weekend. Ethan Segall has all you need to know for this upcoming season.
Thanks, Sammy. In just one day, Northwestern softball will kick off its 2025 season, and I've got you covered with all of the biggest names, storylines, and questions you need to know before the Cats hit the diamond. To talk about the 2025 squad, we have to start by discussing what this team accomplished a season ago. Northwestern captured its 3rd consecutive Big Ten regular season title with a dominant 15-1 home record. As a result, head coach Kate Drohan won her 2nd straight and 6th overall Big Ten Coach of the Year award. Despite a disappointing early exit in the conference tournament, the Cats still made it to the NCAA tournament but saw their season cut short against a national juggernaut in top-ranked Texas. Unfortunately for the Wildcats, it won't be a walk in the park to replicate 2024 success, in large part because of the absence of 2024 Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, Ashley Miller. In her sole season in Evanston, Miller dazzled, leading the Big Ten in ERA, shutouts, and batting average against. With Miller out of eligibility, the Cats will turn to a pitching by committee approach, headlined by the return of Lauren Boyd, who missed all of 2024 due to an injury. Boyd is NU's most proven commodity, but 2 of last year's freshmen in Riley Grudzelanek and Renee Cunningham really started to come on by the end of last year. The expectation is that Cunningham will come out of the bullpen while Boyd, Grudzelanek, and even potentially first-year Emma Blay start games. On the defensive end, Northwestern retains most of its key contributors from last year, but sophomore Izzy Cunilla will slide into the left field spot for Angela Zedak, graduating after starting 125 games for NU. Ayanna Lindsay and Kelsey Nader will stay in their respective spots in center and right. I think the most likely candidate to replace Hannah Cady at third base is first-year Kaylee Avasado, who would have to make the switch from the shortstop position she played in high school, but that would allow Bridget Donahue to stay at short, where she was superb a season ago. You'll see on the side I've highlighted the name Grace Nito, who just like Lauren Boyd returns to the lineup after being sidelined in 2024. Nito could very well return to her second base position, but superstar Kansas Robinson looked excellent at that spot last year. Robinson could slide over to first, but that would displace sophomore Ainsley Muno. So how the infield shakes out is one of the biggest things I'm watching when Northwestern takes the field for the first time this weekend. Speaking of Kansas Robinson, she is one of the 3 must-know names for the Wildcats going into the year. The junior was named first-team All-Big Ten and second-team All-America as she led the Wildcats in batting average, OPS, doubles, home runs, RBI, and on-base percentage. 2025 could be the season where she stakes her claim as the best hitter in the Big Ten. Her partner in crime is fellow All-Big Ten first-teamer Kelsey Nader, who on top of providing elite defense in right field, hit .375 last season and led the team in steals, all while posting an incomprehensibly low strikeout rate. Lastly, Emma Ray showed all of the tools of a future superstar at catcher in her freshman campaign. Her lightning-fast reaction time and howitzer of a right arm allowed her to be the conference's best defensive catcher in just her first season. Offensively, Ray has power for days and seems likely to tack on another handful of homers to her total of 10 from a season ago, which trailed only Kansas Robinson. In order to get to the heights this team wants to reach, Northwestern will have to go through a gauntlet of a schedule. All these teams made the NCAA tournament a season ago with the exception of Nebraska, who returned superstar pitcher Jordy Ball from an injury and is ranked 16th in ESPN's preseason poll. In the first weekend alone, Northwestern, which is ranked 20th, will take on number 15 Missouri, number 8 Duke, and number 5 Tennessee. Bookending the regular season is another tall test as Northwestern will travel to LA on the final weekend of the year to take on new conference foe and perennial softball powerhouse UCLA, who starts the year ranked 6th. UCLA, Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan, and Oregon all represent serious threats as the Wildcats chase a 4th straight conference title. But if there's one thing I've learned about this team, never count out the Wildcats. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Ethan. No one better to break down Northwestern softball. They'll get their season started tomorrow at the NFCA Leadoff Classic against Kennesaw State at 12 Central.
Northwestern baseball begins its season in just over a week. After the break, we'll go to the side studio where our own Anna Watson will highlight 5 players to keep an eye on.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, go!
Welcome back to Sports Night. It's been an exciting week of Northwestern sports as always, but it's also been a big week for awards shows.
That's right, Sammy. We had the Grammys on Sunday. We've got the NFL Honors on tonight. It's really cool to see the best of the best in the spotlight.
Hey, Matt, speaking of the best, Northwestern's men's tennis had a big week facing off against 2 ranked opponents. Moving to the tennis courts, Northwestern's men's tennis had 2 matchups with ranked foes in the last week. Last Friday, the Wildcats took on the 24th ranked Harvard Crimson at Combe Tennis Center in Evanston. Third set victories by Felix Nordby and Chad Miller in each of their respective singles matches gave the Cats 2 points, but Harvard took both doubles matches that finished and 3 singles matches to secure a 5-2 victory. Northwestern went on the road to take on the 7th ranked Duke Blue Devils last Sunday in Durham, North Carolina. While the Cats were able to steal a few points from Harvard, that was not the case at Duke. The Blue Devils won both doubles matches and 2 singles matches to earn a quick 4-0 victory. Northwestern will be back in action on Friday when the Cats travel to Music City to take on Vanderbilt.
Northwestern traveled down to Puerto Rico, the women's golf team that is, but it was strictly business as they faced off in the Purdue-Puerto Rico Classic at Grand Reserve Golf Club in Rio Grande. The Wildcats came into the weekend ranked 9th in the country, but would have a tough slate up ahead of them with the other top 15 programs like Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and LSU also competing in the tournament. Sophomore Ashley Yoon led the way for NU over the 3-day competition, shooting a .211 to finish 4th in individuals. Lauren Nguyen wasn't far behind, shooting a .212 to slot in at 5th. Overall, the Cats had 3 really consistent days and finished 4th overall as a team, only behind the likes of a trio of SEC teams in Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. Northwestern returns to action in less than 2 weeks as they will travel to Melbourne, Florida for the Moon Golf Invitational from February 16th to 18th.
And Northwestern Swimming made a splash in its regular season finale in a tri-dual meet against Purdue and Minnesota. The Wildcats won 8 events, including 2 victories apiece from David Gerchik and Cade Duncan. Gerchik won the 100-meter backstroke and helped anchor the 400 freestyle relay. Duncan also swam in the 400 free relay and took the first touch in the 50-meter freestyle. The women's team won the 400-meter freestyle by 7/100ths of a second. Sophie Martin took second in the 100-meter breaststrokes and won the 100-meter fly. Maggie Papanikolaou took the 100 breaststroke title, finishing over a second ahead of Martin Diego Nosak, the defending Big Ten Swimmer of the Week. Took second in both the 400-meter and the 200-meter IMs. Next week, Northwestern will dive into the Big Ten Championships. The women's team will take to the water in Columbus from February 19th through the 22nd, and the men's team will swim in Minneapolis from February 26th to March 1st.
Now that it's February, it's almost time for Northwestern baseball. Our own Anna Watson joins us in the side studio to break down 5 Cats to keep an eye on this season.
Thanks, guys. With Northwestern baseball season just about a week away, I thought it would be a good idea to give you a little preview of the season. It's Ben Greenspan's second year trying to right the ship, and with a few new and more developed faces, this team has a lot of talent. And here are 5 players that I think you should look out for next weekend and throughout the season. Up first is sophomore infielder Ryan Kuchrak. Kuchrak will play his first game as a Wildcat on Friday after transferring from LSU. While he didn't see much action as a Tiger last season, only starting 1 game against McNeese, he has a big chance to make an impact in the infield this season, slotting into that shortstop spot. Kuchrak was a phenom in high school, and I think that could translate well in the Big Ten this season. Number 4 on my list is another transfer, and that's Crawford Wade. The 6'4" left-hander spent his undergraduate career at Wake Forest, and if what they say about the pitching lab is true, then Northwestern will have a solid arm to rely on in its starting rotation. Wade only tossed 9 innings last season, allowing 3 runs, but his sophomore year was his best. He threw 31 2/3 innings, earning a 3.13 ERA and 35 strikeouts. His fastball command is one of his best assets, and he throws that pitch in the mid to high 80s, and he also has a changeup and a curveball. He'll be pivotal for a Wildcat pitching staff that struggled last season. At number 3, I've got a returning member of the squad, and it's Bennett Markinson. Markinson is probably Northwestern's best returning member this year. He led the team last season with a .337 batting average, tacking on 6 home runs and 34 RBI. The senior was recently named to D1 Baseball's top 50 catchers list. And he was clutch in Northwestern's lineup last season. It was one of the only hitters to find some real consistency. And that good work translated last summer into the Cape Cod Baseball League, where he batted .340 with 4 home runs, and that's all with a wooden bat. Now look out for him to have another leading year on offense for the Cats. Now the second to last player I think you need to look out for is sophomore right-hander Garrett Shearer. Shearer had a bumpy season last year, there's no denying that, but he's got some major potential. He threw harder than any other pitcher Northwestern threw out on the mound last season, peaking in the low to mid-90s. And he had a great start to the season in a relief role against Tulane, but struggled with his command as the season went forward. And with another offseason under his belt, He's had a chance to develop and work on that command, and he should have a starting role next weekend. If he can get control of his pitches, he'll be big for Northwestern moving forward. And last but not least, the number one player that I think you should look out for this season is sophomore outfielder Jackson Freeman. Freeman carries a big bat and good fielding instincts. Last season, he led Northwestern with 11 home runs and batted .247. He's also a great asset in the field. A diving grab he made last year in right field against Eastern Illinois gave him a spot on a SportsCenter top 10 list. And he only had 2 errors all year long. All of his efforts earned him a spot on the Big Ten's all-freshman team. Expect to see him flashing his leather in center field this year, and in my opinion, Freeman has all the tools he needs to be one of the best players in this conference. Look for him to add on to an already impressive freshman year resume with another great season. You can see all these Northwestern baseball stars next Friday on opening day as they take on Long Beach State in a weekend series. With all the new and returning pieces this team has, they are bound to make a jump from last season.
Thanks, Anna. Looking forward to seeing how the Cats look when they start their season next weekend.
Now, here's how you can catch the Cats.
Women's tennis welcomes #1 Georgia to Evanston tomorrow.
The Lake Show opens up its season tomorrow night against Notre Dame.
And women's basketball hosts Penn State in a Sunday afternoon showdown.
Coming up, we've got everyone's favorite segment, It's Plays of the Week. Do not go anywhere.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night. And Matt, it's your last show on desk here at Sports Night, end of an era. How does it feel, man?
You know, Sammy, it's certainly bittersweet. I still remember my first time anchoring this show just a little over 3 years ago. Feels like just yesterday, but I'm not too sad about it because I know Sports Night will be in great hands and our future has never been brighter.
Hey, this guy, for those of you watching, this guy does everything. He is the GOAT, Matt Saperstein. We're going to miss you at Sports Night. This guy's done it all. That being said, we still got one last segment. It's everyone's favorite.
That's right, Sammy. It's Plays of the Week. Roll them.
At number 3, give us a second here as the graphic rolls. Here we go. Number 3, Taylor Williams taking the ball all the way up the floor, breaking the Michigan State press. She finishes off the glass with a spin. Really nice stuff.
Coming in at number 2, Northwestern hosting USC. Nick Martinelli with the ball, dribbling with his right hand. He goes inside, he takes the hit, gets the shot to fall, and the foul. What a finish by the junior.
And finally, at number 1, just a few seconds left, 10 seconds left, Northwestern taking on USC a little bit later in this same game. Martinelli in the corner, double team comes. He needs to win this game. It's tied. Into the paint he goes, and he gets it to go. huge shot for Martinelli as the Cats get a big win against USC.
That's going to do it for us here on Sports Night. Be sure to follow us on X at NNN Sports and on Instagram at NNN_sports. Sammy, with it being my last show on desk, I want to give some special thank yous to everyone who's been a part of my Sports Night experience over the last 4 years. To Pat, Matt, Michael, Allie, Logan, and everyone else who came before me, thank you for showing me how things are done around here and for teaching me to not be afraid to dream big. To Griffin, Leo, Raghav, Raj, and the rest of our station, Sammy, you too, thank you for joining me on this ride. I couldn't have asked for a better crew to do all of this with. And lastly, a big thank you to Matt Schrock for helping us take our station to new heights. For Sammy Krimstein, I'm Matt Saperstein. Have a great night and enjoy the weekend.